Okay, guys, I've got a great article to go through here. It's called How Bad Were the Ratings for Doctor Who Series 15? What the Data Reveals. This is linked below. It's from doctorwhotv.co.uk and it was written by Joel Lewis. And this is a great resource article to go through. And in this article, he compares the ratings of the various series, the various doctors, across all the eras of New Who, so going back as far as 2005 to Christopher Eccleston. Now, for those of you who don't know, Doctor Who Series 15 is the most recent series of the show, and it was Ncuti Gatwa's second and final season, and he regenerated into Billy Piper for some gimmicky reason, and the show ends on a bit of a question mark, and we don't know what the future holds for Doctor Who, but we're going to go through the ratings here before we get down to the most recent 15th series with Ncuti Gatwa. We're going to look at Christopher Eccleston here, and I'm just going to go through the numbers. The information that we're most interested here is consolidated average, which is the average viewership numbers across the various episodes of each Doctor. So Christopher Eccleston was the Doctor for 13 episodes back in 2005. He didn't do a Christmas special. He regenerated into David Tennant before the Christmas special in 2005. And his era is most comparable to Ncuti Gatwa's in the sense that he did the lowest number of episodes of any of the New Who actors. He did 13. Ncuti Gatwa did 18 as the Doctor, although Ncuti Gatwa has a total of 19 appearances if you include his introduction at the end of the third and final 60th anniversary Christmas special starring David Tennant. But we're just going to say, for argument's sake, Gatwa did 18. So Christopher Eccleston's overnight average, 7.72 million across those 13 episodes, and 7.95 million consolidated. So those are the final figures. And at the time, in those early days, obviously things like iPlayer weren't a factor so much, so it wasn't really something that came into play towards the end of the David Tennant era, and Tennant was the Doctor from 2005 to 2010. He's had more appearances as the Doctor than anyone in the New Who era. So his overnight average was 7.88. Again, that's very comparable to Eccleston. And a consolidated average a little bit higher at 8.35. And he did 47 episodes as the 10th Doctor. And then we move on to Matt Smith, 2010 to 2013. His overnight average is a little bit lower, but the difference is that iPlayer has now become a thing in this period of time. And that is, and so more people are watching it later. So the catch-up increase is now 1.87 million average. And that's bringing the consolidated average, the final figure, up to 7.98 million. And so and again, Matt Smith did 44 episodes. And so if you look at the consolidated average for Eccleston, Tennant, and Matt Smith, it's pretty consistent. It's just below 8 to over 8. So just below 8 million to just over 8 million. That's what you're looking at. David Tennant was definitely the height in terms of ratings, but Matt Smith is not too far off. And then there was a decline during Peter Capaldi's era from 2014 to 2017. The overnight average has now dropped to 4.55 million. There's still 1.87 million watching on catch-up, but the consolidated average is not increasing enough. And so it's dropped down to 6.42 million. So you can see there across the 40 Peter Capaldi appearances, he's down to an average of 6.42 million. I think Capaldi's first series was quite good, but his second and third series, just the quality was beginning to decline, I think. And the ratings followed suit. Jodie Whittaker, I think, is an interesting one. She was the Doctor from 2018 to 2022. Her overnight average, 4.68 million, and catch-up increase, 1.45. Consolidated average is coming to 6.13 million. That's still a little bit lower than Capaldi. And she appeared in 31 episodes. Now, what is interesting is that her first series had higher ratings. It began with higher ratings than how Capaldi's final season ended. And the reason for this is, so she introduced a bit of a spike in ratings for Doctor Who when she joined the series. And that was fairly obvious that was going to happen because there was a novelty factor of having the first female Doctor on the show for the first time ever as a female Doctor. But by the end of her run, the ratings were lower than Capaldi. So I think the mean is a little bit skewed in terms of average ratings there because of her first series having quite good ratings. But as you can see, there's a decline overall, down to 6.13. And again, she did less episodes. And then when she regenerated, in pops David Tennant for 3 specials in 2023, the 60th anniversary specials. And the ratings increased a little bit. Catch Up is now up to 2.36 million. And again, it's only 3 episodes, so it's not really comparable to do. And it's worth noting as well that the number of episodes that Capaldi and Whittaker did per series is less than what Tennant, Smith, and Eccleston were doing. Because Eccleston, Tennant, and Smith did 13 episodes per series. Capaldi did 12. Whittaker did 10. And then, of course, Ncuti Gatwa comes in and does 8 episodes in his 2 seasons. But yeah, so David Tennant came back just for some specials. But we really want to look at the Ncuti Gatwa era now, and that's from 2023 to 2025. And the catch-up average, it says here, is 1.46 million. And the overnight average is 2.34 million. So you get a consolidated average of 3.8 million. So it's not even close to Whittaker's ratings. To her consolidated average, it's much lower. It's much lower. And again, what Gatwa did 18 episodes and just 8 episodes per season. Now, I do acknowledge that in here, the author of this article, Joel Lewis, does say the TV landscape has changed, and that he says other flagship BBC shows have seen their audiences drop across the past few years with a greater reliance on iPlayer catch-up and digital engagement. ITV and Channel 4 face similar challenges, shifting more of their focus to streaming platforms as traditional broadcast audiences dwindle. But nevertheless, Doctor Who is a British institution. And in 60 years, the lowest ratings of the show, the lowest rated episodes, are all in the Ncuti Gatwa 14th and 15th series. Sorry, I'm using the word series and season interchangeably there, but anyway, they're all in those 2 years, 14 and 15. And lo and behold, what's significant about those 2 years is that they're the most stunning and brave. They're the most progressive, and therefore they've the most woke, and therefore the most controversial among some long-time Doctor Who audiences. You look at social media sentiment, you throw that in, where a lot of fans express in comment sections and forums and posts and everything and videos their general dissatisfaction with the quality and writing of the show in recent years. And again, I think it really kicked off towards the end of the Capaldi run, but it just kind of got worse throughout Whittaker and then and then Gatwa. So the show was cancelled for that reason. These ratings that the show was getting by the end, there was just no justification for a renewal for a 3rd year there. So now the show, I guess, is in a bit of a limbo. We don't know where they're going to go. Are they going to do a special with Billy Piper or something? Or they could bring back David Tennant for one last hurrah and then put it on ice for a few years. Who knows? I think it needs a good long break at the bare minimum. And if they are to reboot it, which I'm sure they will, they're going to bring it back. There may need to be some retconning. Because there's been, look, all I'll say is to conclude this video, there's been, I think, some unfortunate creative choices, in particular, the backstory of the Doctor in that Timeless Children episode or whatever. But that's probably just, it's probably never going to change. But anyway, or maybe just people just pretend it was a bad dream and never happened. That's that, guys. So I'll include that article linked below for you to check out. It's a great resource for people who like to go through this kind of data with ratings and everything. All right, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.